Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Anti-News Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Grosso, and thank you for tuning in. Today's date is January 24th, and as always, I've got 5 happy stories for you. Our first story is about an app that lets you turn trash into cash, then living artwork for insects, and a Good Samaritan buys a guitar for a kid. After the music break, a doctor who cheers on her patients, and a woman who risked her life to save 3 kids. Gamification is when you add game elements to something that isn't a game. For example, parents could say, "Who can eat the most peas?" to get kids to eat vegetables. Another example of gamification would be providing rewards for completing certain tasks, like earning $1 for every mile you walk. Gamification has been used for a multitude of purposes, but now in the UK, it's being used to help plant trees and clean up the environment. Litter Lotto is a mobile app that's designed to encourage people to pick up trash, and in return, they're eligible to win a cash prize. Right now, the prizes range between £5 to £250, with a grand prize of £10,000, and the rules are pretty simple. To qualify, the player has to take a picture of them putting a piece of non-organic litter, such as bottles or cigarette butts, into a public waste bin. Also, litter from things that are meant to be used at home, like food cans, don't count as an entry. This is to keep people from abusing the system while still encouraging them to clean up. The app had a trial run in Denmark where it was a huge success, and the first UK winner, Louise Sunderland, was recently announced. Louise won £5,000 after picking up around 400 pieces of trash. This is a great sign that the app works, and hopefully it'll be released to the rest of the world soon. Even if there isn't a cash prize being offered, it's still good to pick up any trash you see. You could carry a plastic bag with you and use that to both store and pick up any garbage, or a pair of gloves. Even if it isn't your trash, it's still your world, and we're all responsible for keeping it healthy and clean. Some of the most well-known art pieces were inspired by nature, and it's not hard to see why. There's hundreds, even thousands of different landscapes that can inspire a person to create works of art. Sometimes art and nature come together, like topiaries or gardens, but for the most part, they're on a pretty small scale. Looking to help pollinators, such as bees and butterflies, one gardener and artist has decided to take their art to a much larger scale. In the UK, artist, designer, and academic Dr. Alexandra Daisy Ginsberg has turned her attention to the issue of pollinating insects being threatened by global warming and pollution with Pollinator Pathmaker. Pollinator Pathmaker is a 55-meter installation on show at Cornish eco-attraction Eden Project. Dr. Ginsberg said, "I wanted to make an artwork for pollinators, not about them. Can the audience of an artwork be more than human? And how can art be useful in the ecological crisis? I hope we can create the largest ever climate-positive artwork together by planting living artworks for pollinators around the world." The commission is being funded by the Garfield Weston Foundation, and as part of it, Dr. Ginsberg made an algorithm that optimizes gardens for pollinators rather than humans. It uses 6,000 plants from temperate regions that pollinators love, and which were planted by Eden Project Living Landscape apprentices. Dr. Ginsburg has also shared her algorithm at pollinator.art, which lets people create and share their own garden designs and even includes downloadable planting instructions. Pollinator Pathmaker will be in bloom by June, and all will be welcome to come and see it, not just birds and bees. If you want to help pollinators as well, you can do so by planting native plant species and leaving out a shallow dish of sugar water with pebbles in it for bees to stand on while they get a drink. Make sure to change out the water every few days, especially if you live in an area where mosquitoes are present, since they lay their eggs in water. Nature is beautiful, but like any work of art, it can only be enjoyed so long as it is kept safe and taken care of. For a lot of people, a love of music starts at a young age, and there's all kinds of instruments. Some can be learned in a few days, while others can take years to master. Learning to play an instrument can help with mental development, and in general, it can be a fun experience, but you need to have the instrument in question to practice with. For a boy in Colorado who wanted a guitar, an anonymous shopper made it happen. While living in Colorado, a young boy named Fallon would regularly go into J.B. Hart Music Co., a local music store, and ask to play the Pantera guitar. The Pantera guitar refers to a model of guitar that was made famous by the lead guitarist of a heavy metal band called Pantera. The guitarist was known as Dimebag Darrell and played for both Pantera and Damage Plan, both of which he co-founded alongside with his brother Vinnie Paul. The store said in a Facebook post, Fallon is impacted by Williams syndrome and has an excellent knowledge and a love for music. His dream was to own this guitar. 8 months ago, when he was in the store playing it, another customer took notice of Fallon. It moved this customer so much that he returned to the store later and asked us to give the guitar to Fallon anonymously the next time we saw him. The next time they saw Fallon wouldn't be for 8 months, as he and his family had moved to Texas. They came back to Colorado for a visit, and while there, they went into the store, where Fallon was given the $800 Dean Dimebag Darrell ML guitar. Fallon's mom burst into tears, while Fallon himself was brimming with excitement. J.B. Hart Music Co. shared the moment on Facebook, which caught the attention of the remaining members of Pantera. The band's manager, Kim Davis, got in touch with the store to let them know that Pantera's Philip Anselmo and Rex Brown would be sending him a rocking care package. A random act of kindness can be just about anything, from holding a door open for someone to buying them an $800 guitar. The anonymous person who bought it remained anonymous, despite the attention something like this would have brought them. That's what makes this act of kindness stand above and beyond many others, and it's something that we should all consider, whether we're doing it to make ourselves look good, or if we truly want to make others feel good. One thing that makes people feel good is music, so let's go to the music break. That was Positive Fuse by French Fuse. Now on to the last two stories. During the first 4 weeks of life, babies are referred to as neonatal, regardless of if they're premature or not. During this time, babies are more vulnerable to illness than later on, which is why hospitals have dedicated neonatal intensive care units, referred to as NICUs. It's a hard time not only for the babies, but for the parents as well. Sometimes, what's needed most is a bit of encouragement, and that's what one resident happily provides. Dr. Jennifer Sedler is a third-year pediatrics resident at Stanford Pediatrics Residency Program in the U.S. and says that her favorite part of the job is cheering on the patients in the NICU. Dr. Sedler talks to the parents of the babies in the NICU and gives them updates on their progress, no matter how big or small they are. Dr. Sedler told Today parents, "Hearing parents have such a sense of pride over their babies and the milestones they're accomplishing brought me so much joy, and so I wanted to spread that positivity. I was also hoping that maybe others might start doing the same for their patients." When Dr. Sedler sent out a tweet about her new favorite hobby, thousands of parents shared their experiences with the NICU and how hearing about their child's victories helped them through it. Multiple studies have shown that NICU stays increase a parent's risk of anxiety, depression, and even PTSD. And so having someone on their side, not sugarcoating the situation, but walking through it with them is a tremendous help. Dr. Sedler said, "At the end of the day, what went viral was not my tweet. It was all of these families who were sharing these incredibly inspirational stories of their time in the NICU and their successes. And to be able to share that again in a different way with all these families I hadn't met was so beautiful. And the fact that those stories were shared with so many people was a really beautiful thing. Even if someone isn't going through something obvious, like NICU patients, having someone to encourage you can make all the difference." One popular wintertime activity is ice skating, either at a rink or on a frozen lake. But skating on a lake comes with some risk. If the ice isn't thick enough, you risk falling through and into the freezing water. When that happens, you involuntarily gasp and start to hyperventilate. If you're unable to get out and warm yourself up, you could get hypothermia, which can kill you in as little as 5 minutes. This was a real possibility for 3 kids who fell through the ice, but thankfully there was someone there to rescue them. Dusty Talavera was looking out the window of her home in Denver, Colorado when she saw 3 kids fall through the ice of a lake they were playing on. She was able to pull out 2 of the kids, a 4-year-old and an 11-year-old, before falling through the ice herself while trying to get out the last child, a 6-year-old girl. Thankfully, the girl's cousin came out and helped Dusty get out with the use of a rope. Deputies from the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office arrived to find that the 6-year-old wasn't breathing. They immediately took off her wet coat and performed CPR until paramedics arrived. And after being treated at the hospital, the girl was back with her family just a few days later. Firefighter Corey Sutton commented on Dusty's bravery at a news conference, telling them, "What she did was amazing. We were back at the fire station talking about how brave she was, and, gosh, if this happened to one of mine, I'd hope somebody like her was close by." If you ever find yourself in a situation where you need to warm up after falling into icy cold water, start by making sure that you're safe and find shelter. Once you're inside, strip off any wet clothing and dry yourself off. Then get into a lukewarm bath or shower. Don't make the water hot because the change could cause you to go into shock. Once you've dried off from that, get into some warm clothes, and if you have the energy to do so, keep moving to warm yourself up and drink something warm like tea or hot chocolate. Here's today's advice. When you wake up, try to think of something happy to help you start the day off on a positive note. If nothing else, it'll give you a good start to the day. That's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to support this podcast, you can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, remember that there is still some good in the world. You just gotta look for it. Take care out there, everyone.